Imagine a world watching as the UK takes a dramatic stand to recognize a Palestinian state, a decision that could alter the balance in the Middle East. But here's where it gets controversial. On Sunday afternoon, Sir Keir Starmer is expected to declare the UK will officially acknowledge Palestine as a sovereign nation. Back in July, the Prime Minister set a clear deadline. If Israel hadn't agreed to a ceasefire in Gaza, committed to rebuild a sustainable peace, and restarted negotiations for a two-state solution by September, Britain would change its stance. Fast forward to today, and ministers argue that moment of maximum impact has arrived, driven by a mounting sense of moral duty to rejuvenate hopes for a long-term settlement. And this is the part most people miss. This marks a significant departure from decades of UK foreign policy, where recognition was traditionally tied to a final peace agreement. Now, with harrowing images of starvation and violence in Gaza, what one UN official called a cataclysmic ground operation in Gaza City, ministers say they can no longer wait. Critics, however, are already sharpening their knives. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu denounced the measure as rewarding terror, while families of hostages taken by Hamas warn it could jeopardize efforts to bring home their loved ones. An open letter from these families pleaded for a delay until the remaining 48 captives, 20 of whom are believed to be alive, are released. They argue Hamas has already celebrated Britain's move and walked away from a ceasefire deal. Inside Whitehall sources insist that the UK still demands Hamas free the hostages and agree to a ceasefire. But Foreign Office officials point out a crucial distinction. Statehood is a right for the Palestinian people, and it can't be held hostage to a militant group widely designated as a terrorist organization. And here's another flashpoint: the continued growth of Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank, deemed illegal under international law. Justice Secretary David Lammy highlights the planned E1 project, warning it would carve up Palestinian territory and doom the vision of two contiguous states, with East Jerusalem as capital. International reactions have been mixed. The U.S. president, on a state visit this week, publicly disagreed with Britain's timing. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch worries recognition without hostage releases rewards terrorism. Meanwhile, countries like Portugal, France, Canada, and Australia have also moved toward recognition, joining Spain, Ireland, and Norway, and joining the roughly 75% of UN member states that already grant symbolic recognition to Palestine, despite undefined borders and no standing army. And this is the twist. While the UK's Labour Party base has long championed Palestinian statehood, critics across the political spectrum question why similar conditions weren't imposed on Hamas. The chief rabbi warned recognition is not tied to a functioning or democratic Palestinian government or even the release of the hostages. Sir Keir counters that any future state will explicitly exclude Hamas from governance. Hostilities flared after the unprecedented Hamas-led attack on southern Israel on 7 October 2023, which left about 1,200 dead and 251 abducted. Since then, the Gaza Health Ministry estimates nearly 65,000 Palestinians have died in Israeli operations. So what do you think? Is Britain's move a bold moral statement or a risky political gambit? Could recognition now revive the two-state dream? Or will it deepen divisions and delay peace? Share your thoughts below and join the debate.